Hello, my name is April Bottoms, and I work at the Mahalo Deaf Education Center. I have been working there for the past 2 years, and while I was there, I met a student named Kristiann Kalles. She is deaf and blind. When I first met Kristiann 2 years ago, I remember the teacher warning me the day before that a new deaf-blind student would be coming the next day. I had never worked with a deaf-blind student before. Without having that type of experience, I tried to prepare as much as I could by doing research on the internet. The next day, I remember that moment when she arrived. I tried to say hello, and she hid behind her mother, just peeking out from behind her. She seemed extremely shy. When she went into the classroom, she went directly for one specific seat. I thought, that's great, she's comfortable there. I tried different ways of getting her attention, presenting different activities, but she didn't want to participate at all. She seemed like she had a lot of fear and anger and frustration. She was easily made to cry, and she didn't like certain activities, and she would cry for a long time, sometimes hours. It was very challenging working with her. She refused to write. She didn't want to try any new activities. We tried to see if she would sit in a different location in the classroom, and she wasn't willing. When there were group activities, she didn't want to move from her chair and join the rest of the group. In the beginning, we struggled quite a lot every day. She seemed quite lonely, and I felt like I failed her, that us as an educational team, we failed her. We felt helpless. We didn't see any improvement in the beginning. She would cry and easily be angered to throw temper tantrums. We struggled throughout the beginning of this process. And there was one point where I felt, what was the point? Why did she come to school? We wouldn't be able to help her. Maybe we could do home visits instead, or do something else for her. In spite of the challenges, we did not give up. We tried a multitude of different approaches, and finally, we found a way to reach her. Now I'd like to share with you some of the approaches that we used with Kristiann that were effective. The most important of all of them was earning her trust. Once she was able to trust, we could see a huge difference. She was willing to participate, and her tantrums decreased significantly. Once she realized that she could trust me and I would do her no harm, we were able to connect and work together. There were several ways that I worked with her to earn her trust. The first was to find her comfort zone and honor that. One example was when I first met her and she would come into the classroom, she would always go to the same chair every single day. When I tried to move her, she was unhappy, and so I decided to change the classroom to revolve around her comfort zone and where she preferred to sit. When we had group activities, instead of having her move, I would have the students move to where she was. At first, she wasn't sure about this process, but then, because she was in her comfort zone, then she was able to participate within the activity and feel comfortable. When I started doing that, I saw great improvements. The second effective approach is to never give up on Kristiann. Show her that you care, that you love her, that you'll support her and work with her through everything. Providing her with plenty of attention, and if she makes a mistake, Not to get angry, to show that struggle is okay, and to continue to have a positive mindset and support her that she can do it. Kristiann tends to be a perfectionist, and so when she makes mistakes, we'll often encourage her to try again and to laugh and to say it's okay. When she would get upset, we would show that we care through giving her hugs. At first, she did not like having the hugs, but as time went on and I continued to give her hugs, she became more comfortable to the point where she would return the hug. I never gave up on Kristiann, even though she would test myself and those around me to see who would stick by her side and who would give up. Once she knew that you were going to be there through thick and thin, I saw amazing changes in her. The third effective approach is to find the student's passion. This is extremely important, and once you have found that passion, you can use it to engage the student. Kristiann fell in love with books and reading. I would give her large font books and she would devour them. During breaks, any moment that she could, she would take a book from the shelf and read it. I capitalized on the fact that she loved reading. I would build activities around the stories that she was engaged with. She loved humor and would laugh when we told stories. By using her passion of reading, I was able to help her make connections within her learning. I wanted a way to reward Kristiann for all of her hard work. Because of her love of books, that became her reward. Through her love of reading and this reward system, she was increasingly willing to do more activities. The fourth effective approach is to acknowledge their dislikes and their fears. It's important to pay attention to what they don't like, because if you don't, then it will be harder to gain their trust. A perfect example was Kristiann's fear of playing ball. Because of her limited sight, it was hard for her to tell when a ball was coming towards her. I tried to engage her into the group activities of playing ball. It's very important for the other students to have a clear understanding of what her limitations are, and for them to make sure that they're gentle and supportive while they play. It took about 1.5 years until she was finally able to catch the ball. Once that happened, she loved it and would play and laugh with the other children. The fifth effective approach is to find a routine within the classroom. This is extremely critical because if every day is different, then the student cannot predict what will happen next. It is more challenging to gain their trust. For example, in English class, it is the same time every day, along with the rest of the schedule. In the beginning, it's important to have the same instructors and teachers' aides for each class. Later on, as she becomes more comfortable with the routine, then it is possible to change around the instructors. But in the beginning, again, it is extremely important to have that predictability within the schedule. In this way, she can predict and look forward to the various classes and activities. Through the use of a consistent schedule, I was able to discover her favorite subjects and extend her learning. The sixth effective approach is to keep everyone on the same page: instructors, students, and Kristiann. It's crucial that other students and instructors understand her visual needs, that they don't dismiss her, but are always supportive and show that they care, that they help her be comfortable. Once she gets something correct, that they applaud and cheer for her. If she needs some space, they allow her to have that. Instructors must have patience and be willing to work with her in a positive manner. Over time, Kristiann grew to love her classroom. She felt bonded with every student and with all of the teachers. This is so important for her to know and love her environment. The seventh effective approach was connecting home and school. I wanted to further my connection in my ability to help her, so one day I decided to go to her house and meet her mother and her baby brother. She was shocked to see me there and suspicious. I repeatedly went to her house, and her mother would come with her baby brother to the school for IEP meetings. As Kristiann saw the connection between myself and her mother and her baby brother, she started to relax. And from that moment, her trust in me grew exponentially. I have one humorous story that I would like to share with you. When working with Kristiann, I struggled to get her to write simple things like her ABCs, her name, just willing to write in general. She was generally resistant to writing. Sometimes the teacher's aide would hold her hand and help her trace on paper. But generally, it was a struggle to get her to write. Finally, I had an IEP meeting with her mother. We discussed her progress, what she's improving upon, what she still needs to work on. I explained some of the struggles that I've had while teaching Kristiann, and I asked her mom what she was like at home and what she liked to do. Her mom informed me that she was able to write her name. I was shocked at this. I wanted to clarify with her mother if Kristiann could write her first and last name, and her mother said that she could write that among other things. I was completely shocked. For the past 3 months, I'd been struggling to get Kristiann to write simple things like her name and ABCs. Right then and there, I realized that Kristiann had known all along and that she was really testing us. And during that meeting, when I told Kristiann's mother what had happened during those last few months, she laughed and she said, "Yes, that's Kristiann." Now that I was armed with the knowledge that she could write, I was more determined than ever. This was the breakthrough that we needed to help Kristiann realize that she could write her name and learn new words and be willing to do all of these things at school. All the teachers collectively had a good laugh. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Kristiann was frustrated, alone, and angry. She hated to do activities. She struggled through life. And through the years of working with her, she has changed significantly. She has become a beautiful child who is blooming every day with increased knowledge. She is like a flower drinking deeply from a well for the first time. She laughs daily. She runs and plays in the hall with the other children. It is so sweet to see all of her small activities that she does every day. She loves to read and to journal. She writes her name and is excited to participate in class. Her math skills are tremendous. She has learned addition and she's working on subtraction. She's a completely different person from when I first started working with her. She loves to give hugs, especially to those who trust. She wouldn't hug somebody she doesn't trust, but anybody that she does, she will. She's confident in herself. She loves to run. I see her every day running and playing chase with the other students. As I've mentioned already, she is a child who is drinking in the beauty of the world, and we are starting to see various aspects of her personality shine, and she's just such a beautiful person.